Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about SEBI norms for credit rating agencies. SEBI is Securities and Exchange Board of India and SEBI has released new norms for the working of credit rating agencies in India. So we will discuss about the new norms released by SEBI, what is the rationale behind that and what are the implications. So we will discuss all this in detail in this lecture. But before we begin, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including UPSC Civil Services Examination. If you are preparing for your UPSC Civil Service Examination 2020, you can avail our pen drive courses which will cover 100% of UPSC syllabus and also daily current affair updates will be done. You can find more details from the link which is pasted on the description below, and also you can visit our website for more details. So let us start. So if we come to the current affair, SEBI has released new framework for financial disclosure by credit rating agencies. So this topic, especially regulatory bodies like SEBI, is very important for your UPSC preparations. This will be helpful for both your preliminary as well as your mains examination. In your mains examination, this particular topic comes under your GS paper 3 under economy. And it also comes under GS paper 2 under various regulatory bodies. So this is a very important topic for preliminary as well as mains examination. Now if we analyze the current affair, SEBI is Securities and Exchange Board of India. It is the market regulator in India. So the market regulator has released a new framework or new norms for financial disclosure by credit rating agencies. So we will discuss what is credit rating agencies, what are the new norms provided by SEBI. We will also discuss what is the rationale behind it and what can be the possible implications. So let us start. Let us start with what are credit rating agencies. Credit rating agencies are those companies that evaluate the financial condition of issuers of debt instruments. Now, what is meant by debt instruments? Debt instruments are those instruments which are used to borrow money. So it is different from that of equity. Equity means you are purchasing the shares of a company. You are purchasing the ownership rights of a company. But instead, the debt instruments are borrowing instruments which will help a borrower to raise money. So, the companies that evaluate the financial condition of the issuers or the borrowers is called credit rating agencies. So, basically, they rate the financial condition of the borrowers, and according to their evaluation, this credit rating agencies will assign a rating that reflects its assessment of the issuer's ability to make the debt payments back. So the rating is based on the ability of the borrower to pay back the debt, and the rating is denoted by a simple alphanumeric symbol. For example, AA plus, A minus, these are all some of the symbols that are used to denote the rating. Now in India, the credit rating agencies, they are regulated by SEBI. SEBI is the market regulator, and the entities that are rated by credit rating agencies comprises of companies, state governments, non-profit organizations, countries, entities, local governments, etc. So these are all some of the entities that are rated by credit rating agencies. Now if we come to some of the key credit rating agencies in India, one is CRISIL. So CRISIL is Credit Rating Information Services of India Limited. Second one is ICRA, or otherwise called ICRA. Third one is Credit Analysis and Research Limited, or CARE. So these are some of the prominent and significant credit rating agencies in India. I hope you have a brief idea about credit rating agencies. Now let us come to the new norms released by SEBI. So SEBI is the market regulator and also the regulator of credit rating agencies in India. So what are the new norms issued by SEBI in this regard? The first one, the credit rating agencies have to clearly state the probability of default. So we have already seen that the credit rating agencies will have to evaluate the ability of the borrower to repay the debt. So the probability of any default should be clearly stated by the credit rating agencies. Now what is meant by probability of default? Probability of default means the likelihood of a default over a particular period. If there is any likelihood or a probability for default by the borrower, that should be clearly stated. And in this regard, SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, will prepare and share standardized uniform probability of default benchmarks. So it will be based on a uniform benchmark which will be provided by SEBI, that the credit rating agencies will state the probability of default. And this uniform standards will be fixed for each credit rating category for 1 year, 2 year and 3 year cumulative default rates. And this probability of default statement will be based on a 10-year marginal default rate and economic cycle. So these minute facts are not very much important, but understand that the state of probability of default needs to be stated. So this is the most important point. And if you are preparing specifically for SEBI examination or any such kind of examination, you should particularly know what are the minute details of it. Otherwise, understand that the state of probability of default needs to be properly stated. Now the second one, the agencies, that is the credit rating agencies, will have to publish information on their performance in rating of debt instruments. So we have already seen that the SEBI will provide a benchmark. So in comparison to the benchmark, the credit rating agencies will have to publish information on their performance. So this is to help the investors to better judge the performance of credit rating agencies. And this will also bring in transparency about the credit rating agencies. So this publication of information about the performance of credit rating agencies will help the investors or other stakeholders to understand what is the performance of credit rating agencies, and this will bring in a transparency in the working of credit rating agencies. And this comparison, that is the performance, should be compared with that of the standard benchmarks given by SEBI, that is the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Now, third one is regarding the disclosure of factors. So, this is the third provision introduced by SEBI. So, here the factors for which the rating is sensitive. That means the factors that will enable an upward or downward movement of the rating should be clearly stated by the credit rating agencies. So how it is significant? This is significant because this will help the end users to understand the factors that have a potential to impact the creditworthiness of the company. So what are the factors that will bring your credit rating down, or the factors that will bring a hike or an upward movement in your credit rating? These factors should be properly mentioned. Now the fourth point or the fourth norm is regarding the disclosure of client's liquidity position. So here SEBI expects rating agencies to make meaningful disclosures on client's liquidity position using simple terms. Now what does it mean? The liquidity position of the client should be mentioned. So in simple terms means the words like strong, adequate, poor, etc. can be used, and this should throw light on the liquidity position of the client. And why there is a need for liquidity exposure or disclosure of liquidity position is because the ILNFS crisis has highlighted the importance of disclosing the liquidity position in order to avoid a crunch. So these are the new norms introduced by SEBI, and now we will understand what is the rationale behind it. Now if we observe the credibility of the rating institutions, since 2008, that is after the global financial crisis, the credibility of the rating agencies is eroding. And this is primarily because of the conflict of interest. What is meant by the conflict of interest here? Here the conflict of interest means that the rating agency is paid by the issuer of the instrument. So the issuer pays to the credit rating agencies. So the agencies are found to be more loyal to the companies whose instruments they rate rather than to investors. So this is the conflict of interest. So the issuers or the companies, issuers are the issuers of debt instruments, that is the companies. So companies are the one who pays to the credit rating agencies, and the credit rating agency seems to be very much loyal to those companies who pay them. So this is the conflict of interest. Ideally, the credit rating agencies should be loyal to the investors. This is because the investors are providing the capital. But because companies paying the credit rating agencies, they are more loyal to credit rating agencies, and this has resulted into a conflict of interest. And because of this conflict of interest, the credibility of the credit rating institutions are in crisis. And as a result of this, the agencies, the credit rating agencies, fail to downgrade troubled companies until they are at the verge of bankruptcy. So because they are loyal to the company, they will not downgrade the rating of the company. So this has led to many crises. A recent example is the ILNFS crisis. And following the ILNFS crisis, there was a liquidity crisis among the NBFC sector. So such type of crisis should be avoided. So according to SEBI, credit rating agencies should act as an alert system before the actual default. So if the credit rating agencies fails to fulfill this function of providing an alert before the actual crisis, then the credibility of the credit rating agencies are in crisis. So this will have a larger impact on the economy as a whole, and that is the reason SEBI has aimed to tighten the disclosure guidelines for the credit rating agencies. So with this, it is expected that the quality of the information provided by the credit rating agencies will be enhanced, and this will be made available to different stakeholders including the investors. So investors can make a wise decision on where to invest and where to dedicate their precious capital. So these are the new norms issued by SEBI and the rationale behind it. You can find the PDF of this lecture on our website www.studyiq.com. You can follow my Facebook page for more video updates. You can also write to me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com for any of your queries and clarifications. Thank you.